If your soil feels lifeless no matter how much compost castings or fertilizer you throw at it, you're not alone. Many gardeners chase living soil only to find their beds still sluggish and unresponsive. I was in the same boat, until I discovered an old Amish ferment made from something most of us throw away everyday rice wash water. It's humble, natural, and unbelievably powerful. This ancient ferment doesn't rely on store-bought inoculants or costly brews. Instead, it harnesses wild local microbes to awaken your soil from dormancy and jumpstart plant growth in ways that bottled products simply can't match. When you rinse rice before cooking, that cloudy water you pour off isn't waste. It's the foundation of a microbial revolution. It's loaded with starch, trace minerals, and simple sugars that make it the perfect breeding ground for beneficial microbes from your local environment. The Amish and other traditional natural farmers have long known that this simple step, fermenting rice wash, can unlock one of the most effective soil activators ever discovered. The science behind it is elegant, as the rice water sits exposed to air under gentle conditions. Wild lactic acid bacteria, yeasts, and decomposer microbes colonize the liquid. These are the same microorganisms responsible for composting, fermentation, and nutrient cycling in healthy soil ecosystems. Within just a few days, that milky rice water becomes a living culture, smelling faintly sweet, tangy, and, well, alive. Making this ferment requires no fancy equipment or expensive ingredients, just patience and clean water, really. Here's the exact process that's been quietly passed down through generations. Start with 1 cup of uncooked rice and 2 cups of non-chlorinated water. Swish the rice vigorously for about a minute until the water turns nice and cloudy. Then, strain out the rice, you can still cook it later, and pour that milky water into a clean glass jar. Alright, so, cover the jar loosely with a breathable cloth such as a paper towel or fine mesh and leave it in a warm, shaded area for 3 to 5 days. During this time, the natural microbes in your environment will colonize the liquid. Depending on your climate, you may see activity as early as 48 hours, like small bubbles, a thin film on the surface, and a mild, pleasant smell. Once you notice these signs, go ahead and strain the liquid to remove any solids. Next comes the amplification stage. Mix the fermented rice water with an equal amount of milk. Any type works, including skim milk. The lactic acid bacteria from the rice wash will begin feeding on the milk sugars, multiplying rapidly. Over about a week, you'll see the mixture separate into 2 layers, a top layer of curds and a bottom layer of clear yellowish liquid. The liquid underneath is your finished ferment concentrate, often called a microbial serum. The curds can be composted. They're rich in nutrients and microbial biomass. Store the liquid in a sealed non-metal container in a cool spot. As long as it smells pleasantly sour or sweet, it's good to use and will keep for up to 6 months. This is where the magic happens. The Amish ferment isn't just a microbial supplement. It's a complete soil inoculant that restores balance, structure, and nutrient cycling. For a soil drench, dilute 1 part ferment to 20 parts non-chlorinated water. Apply about 1 liter of the diluted mix per square meter of soil. You don't need to soak the soil. The goal is simply to seed it with life. For foliar feeding, you'll want to use a lighter dilution, 1 part ferment to 50 parts water, and, spray it directly on the plant leaves during the cooler parts of the day. The microbes on the leaf surface, they really help improve disease resistance and nutrient uptake. If you're working with hydroponics or coco coir, you should go even lighter, 1 part ferment to 100 parts water every 2 weeks. This keeps roots biologically active and honestly, helps them stay pathogen-free. You'll start noticing changes pretty quickly. In compacted or lifeless soil, the surface softens within just a few days, worms return, drainage improves, plants develop thicker stems, stronger root systems, and more vibrant leaves. In compost piles, a cup of ferment mixed into 5 liters of water speeds up decomposition dramatically and eliminates foul odors. Even worm bins benefit. A light misting with a 1 to 50 dilution keeps bedding fresh and stimulates microbial bloom, which in turn keeps worms feeding actively. Most commercial inoculants are cultured in sterile, controlled environments. When you introduce them to your soil, many of those lab-grown microbes simply can't survive or adapt to local conditions. The Amish ferment, by contrast, captures wild, native microbes that are already perfectly suited to your unique climate, pH, and organic matter profile. That means when you pour this ferment into your soil, you're not introducing strangers, you're reuniting the ecosystem with its local residents. The result is a microbial community that thrives immediately and sustains itself naturally. Another big advantage is diversity. The ferment doesn't contain just bacteria but also yeasts, protozoa, and other microscopic allies. This creates a balanced soil food web that resists disease, unlocks bound nutrients, and keeps pathogens in check. So, it's a self-regulating system, something no bottled inoculant can really replicate, you know. And then, there's the cost. A single batch of rice wash ferment can produce over 5 liters of usable inoculant for just a few cents. Now compare that to commercial microbial products, which can cost anywhere from $20 to $50 per liter. For gardeners or market growers managing larger plots, that difference is, well, huge. Lactic acid bacteria, one of the dominant groups in the ferment, are known for their ability to break down complex organic matter things like dead roots, old compost, and plant residues into simpler, plant-available nutrients. They help convert stubborn carbon compounds into humus, improving both nutrient retention and soil structure. Yeasts and fungi add another dimension. Their byproducts create tiny air channels in the soil, improving oxygen flow and water infiltration. These microbes also release organic acids that free up locked nutrients, making them more accessible to plant roots. Over time, this living system transforms compacted dirt into a rich, crumbly, biologically active medium. In one of my own garden beds, I tested the ferment on a section of hard clay that refused to drain. Within 2 weeks of weekly applications, the crust softened, worms appeared, and rainfall began soaking in instead of pooling. By the next planting cycle, that area produced nearly 30% more root biomass than the untreated section. The difference was visible and measurable. The beauty of this Amish ferment lies in its simplicity and adaptability. It bridges traditional wisdom with modern soil science, proving that you don't need complex technology to grow vibrant, productive plants. You just need to feed the biology that nature already provides. You know, healthy soil isn't built by chemicals or synthetic fertilizers, it's actually built by life. And, well, this rice wash ferment is basically life in a jar, ready to awaken your soil from the inside out. Whether you're a backyard grower or a large-scale farmer, this one practice can really cut costs, reduce waste, and restore the living foundation of your land. So, honestly, stop chasing miracle products and start brewing your own biology. The ingredients are already in your kitchen, and the microbes are just waiting in the air. All you need to do is invite them in. If this guide gave you a new tool for your soil building journey, go ahead and subscribe to Crop Corner and share this with a fellow grower. Let's bring soil back to life, one simple ferment at a time.